Hi everyone, in this video we're going to explore identity sculpting, or how to shape your ideal self, how to become the person you need to become to achieve the things in life you want to achieve. On this channel we explore creating systems in our lives to perform better and achieve what matters most to each of us. And fundamental to this is defining who you want to be, then designing and becoming that person. Your thoughts are repeated to yourself over and over again. Those thoughts become your beliefs, and your beliefs become your reality. Once you accept it as reality, you are stuck with that life. Tony Robbins said, "The only thing keeping you from getting what you want is the story you keep telling yourself." So often, the beliefs that you accept as reality are not actual reality. They're just excuses. You let your excuses become your reality. Don't do that. Life is not about finding yourself. It's about becoming yourself. We can rewire our brains. We can rewrite our view of self. We can shape the version of ourselves that serves us best. You can view yourself in many different legitimate ways. Pick one that empowers and uplifts, rather than hurts and breaks you down. We will explore how to build legitimacy in your mind for the way you choose to view yourself, to specifically design and sculpt your self-identity. Habits are formed through identity change, both starting good ones and breaking bad ones. I discovered this notion over 20 years ago, and that has been the most impactful insight of my life. That identity is at the source of building and breaking the habits to become the person you want to be. See my previous identity sculpting video for very practical daily steps to build an identity sculpting practice. I'll link to that below. But for something this important, we haven't discussed this concept fully enough yet, so let's dive deeper. Our actions shape our identity, and in turn, our identity shapes our actions. The Silicon Valley philosopher-entrepreneur Reid Hoffman said, "I believe that each of us should be thoughtful, proactive, and rigorous about our own identity. Shape your identity, and thus your life, to better meet the expectations you have of yourself." How do we do this? You lay bricks to construct the identity you want. Each action you take is a brick placed in the structure you're building. This structure, over time, with many bricks, takes shape and forms a rigidity. It's your view of yourself. Build deliberately, laying the right shape of bricks in the right place to build who you want to be. Laying bricks reactively or arbitrarily will create a rough, dysfunctional structure. And if we find ourselves with a chaotic, dysfunctional creation, we don't just move on to a new plot of land and start over. The structure and its bricks need to be dismantled in order to build anew. We only have one plot of land and one structure of self. Build it properly as early as possible. The longer you let the reactive, arbitrary bricklaying go, the more hard work to tear it down and rebuild. But once you have a strong, well-designed, well-built structure, you have a robust and enduring self-identity that can withstand harsh weather and ongoing challenges. You give validation through attention to the inputs and ideas that enter your awareness. Not everything you encounter needs to be validated. You can decide what to validate by deciding what to spend time reflecting on, or even obsessing on. Where you apply your attention has a lasting effect on you. It lays bricks. If you obsess over negative or angry thoughts in your mind, looping them over and over, they will form your beliefs and your identity, and therefore your reality. If you obsess over growth-minded ideas, empowering beliefs, they will form a confident and capable structure of self. Your thoughts lay bricks toward your identity. Your actions do exactly the same. Your actions shape what your mind focuses on for much of the time. There are certainly things outside of your control that impact and shape your identity. Some driven by ego, but many are real and unfair and completely legitimate reasons for negative elements of your self-identity. They are outside of your control. And there is so much inside your control, including what you permit to define you from outside forces. This can be done. It's done by many people who rise above adversity. It is your mind. If you make the effort, you can have more influence on it than anyone or anything else. The influential psychologist Carl Rogers said people have 3 types of views or perceptions of themselves. They have a self-image, which is how we see ourselves, who we think we are. They have self-esteem, how we feel about ourselves emotionally, and an ideal self, who we should be, who we want to be. Self-alignment is when our self-image is close to our ideal self. This is the objective. It leads to good self-esteem, confidence, and high self-worth. However, it is always a work in progress. It is never a fixed state. So you always have to be mindful and striving toward improving that self-alignment. Self-alignment moves us towards Maslow's self-actualization atop his hierarchy of needs. We first satisfy lower levels and then move up to the higher levels. At the very bottom, you have basic needs. These would be physiological needs, such as food, water, warmth, rest. Then you have safety needs, security, safety, protection. Then as you get into the middle, you have psychological needs. This would be belongingness and love needs, friends, intimate relations, connections with other people. Then you move up to esteem needs, which would be a sense of accomplishment and a sense of meaning. And then ultimately, we move up to the self-fulfillment needs. This would be what he calls self-actualization. And that is what we're achieving as we move closer and closer to our ideal self. As we achieve that self-alignment, we achieve one's own full potential. This is what we're striving for when we're sculpting and shaping ourselves. We're building ourselves into our ideal self. This is self-actualization. And the way you do that is by laying bricks, brick by brick, action by action. Every thought that we focus on, every action that we do, when we repeat those actions day after day, hour after hour, they build the structure and they move us toward that actualization, that ideal self. Then how you manifest your identity further shapes your identity. It becomes a feedback loop. It gets easier and reinforced over time if you're building in a healthy direction. So the sooner you get into this positive feedback loop of strong thoughts, strong actions, strong identity, self-perpetuating, the better, the less work you have to do to undo and restart the momentum. And ultimately, you can decide on the identity you want, but it better be aligned with what you truly value, or you will build a prison. A lot of people build prisons through false identities not true with themselves, either serving what they think others want or an ego-fueled delusion. They end up with identities they don't respect and do not provide real purpose and fulfillment. As with everything, and most importantly here, you have to ask, why do you want this ideal self? And that all comes down to your guiding principles in life, what you value in life and where you find meaning in life. We've talked about guiding principles to some degree, particularly when we looked at the alignment zone in the Notion PPV, Pillars, Pipelines, and Vaults system, but we really haven't drilled deep into it. In the next video following this one, we are going to dive into guiding principles more specifically and get a better sense both of what they are and how to identify, find, and articulate your guiding principles so that they can serve as a North Star, as a guiding beacon, how you choose the things that are your highest priorities, how you shape your identity. All of this is directly informed by your guiding principles. If your identity is not aligned with your guiding principles, you're going to have a lot of problems. But also if your top priority projects are not aligned, if your value goals, if your objectives, if your habits and routines are not aligned, the guiding principles inform everything. So the next video, we're going to go deep into what those are, understand them more clearly, and then think about how we can construct those in our lives and then implement them into our systems if we have a formal system, but just to be aware of them as a guiding direction, even if you don't have a system. They inform everything we do, especially the big choices we make in life. And identity is not only a beacon for yourself. It is a marker of who you are and what you stand for. It's also a beacon for others. If you default to a misaligned identity without deliberation, you will attract the same in others around you. Shape an identity that you respect and are proud of, then you will attract others with similar identity qualities. In future videos, we'll continue to explore identity sculpting, how to align it with guiding principles, and how to become the person you need to become to achieve the things you want to achieve. If this is of interest, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon to get updates on future videos, and please hit like if you found this video valuable. Leave thoughts or questions below, or join us in the Notion Life Design course to explore these topics more extensively. That's all at notionlifedesign.com. I also write the Life Design newsletter on increasing human capability. I give away several of my best Notion templates to anyone who subscribes to the free newsletter. The newsletter link is also below in the show notes. Thanks for watching. Lots more to come.